Chapter 51. Bullying with Numbers. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. With a wave of Lin Feng's hand, golden light flickered and enveloped the entire tunnel. Everybody was stunned and they all suddenly smelt the faint scent of sandalwood enter their nostrils. Their vision was filled with dazzling golden light and waves of Buddhist chanting entered into their ears as if it came from the distant horizon, but also seemingly rising up from the depths of their hearts. Accompanying the Buddhist chanting was Lin Feng's calm voice. Zhu Hongwu may be Zhu Yi's blood relative, but not for a single day has he conducted his responsibilities of teaching him. He only uses etiquette and rules to bound his body and mind, satisfying his own selfish desires and desire for control. He is a shame as a father and a husband. He has no right to interfere with Zhu Yi choosing the path he wants to walk. Zhu Yi is the son of an old friend of mine. Regardless of whether or not he becomes my disciple today, I will not sit still and watch others suppress his development. This child's own path will be chosen by himself and he alone will be responsible for it. Lin Feng's calm and indifferent, yet also powerful words fell into Zhu Yi's ears. Even Zhu Yi, who's always had a strong will, felt a wave of warm soothingness in his heart. A lot of the indignation stuck in his heart for many years also disappeared. The face of the middle-aged man in a body of purple fine clothes was as cold as ice. He shouted out, "Die Zealot!" Waving his two hands, 9 rings of light flew out and headed straight for Lin Feng. Zhu Yi has seen the fine-clothed middle-aged man strike out before. He knows that the people trapped by the rings of light will be unable to move and can only wait to be captured. Seeing him use the same trick to fight Lin Feng, he couldn't help but speak out to warn him. "Hurry up and dodge, don't get caught by the light." Lin Feng had a calm composure. He chanted in a prolonged voice. 24 Heaven Arhat Formation, open. The sariras that were released before shined brightly. The golden light became increasingly more radiant and blended together, turning into a heavy haze and covering the entire tunnel. The scent of sandalwood permeated the air and thunderous Buddhist chanting shook the ears. A giant hand poked out from the golden light haze and slapped away 3 rings of light. Afterwards, an Arhat light figure covered in golden light stepped out from the light haze. With its massive 100-foot-tall figure, it had already arrived in front of the fine-clothed middle-aged man with 2 steps. Its fist the size of a house came smashing down on his head. The fine-clothed middle-aged man let out a cold snort. The spell sign of his 2 hands changed and the 9 rings of light suddenly connected together as a line in mid-air, stabbing down towards the Arhat's head like a sword. The golden Arhat chanted the name of Buddha in a low voice, its 2 palms coming together and clapping towards the center, catching the rings of light that had linked together into a line. The rings of light changed again. The 9 rings of light slipped over each other, linking together like a chain and then arced through the air, tying up the golden Arhat. At this moment the 9 rings of light were connected end to end, turning into a giant ring of light and enclosing the golden Arhat in the middle, bounding it and causing it to be unable to move. The golden Arhat exerted force to break free, but it was as if the ring of light was made of elastic. It constantly expanded and shrank, neutralizing the Arhat's great strength and causing it to be unable to break free. The fine-clothed middle-aged man laughed coldly. "And I thought you would be quite skilled, you're nothing but so." The 5 cultivators of the 5 elements sect also revealed smiles of disdain on their faces. The yellow-clothed old man stroked his white beard and smiled, saying, "So it's a scum of the Great Thunder Monastery. Too bad your Tao technique has yet to reach a sufficient level." Boom! Another pair of giant palms poked out from the light haze and a second golden Arhat revealed itself. Following closely behind it was also a third one. The laughter of the cultivators of the House of the Marquis abruptly stopped. Ouch! Under his great shock, the yellow-clothed old man accidentally pulled off a few hairs from his beard, causing him to grimace in pain. The fine-clothed middle-aged man stared in terror at the 2 massive golden Arhats that were also 100 feet tall that rushed out together. They stood separately at two sides and together grabbed the ring of light binding the first golden arhat. Buddha is merciful. With a low shout the three arhats exerted force together, working from inside and outside and directly tugging to pieces the ring of light. His soul-bound magic item destroyed, the fine-clothed middle-aged man spit out a mouth of vital blood and then fell backwards towards the ground without making a sound. Lin Feng smiled asking. Who is it who is nothing but so? One Five Elements sect cultivator shouted. 3 against 1, what is there to be proud of? We 5 people here will destroy your arhats. Lin Feng chuckled. Your meaning is that you're going to bully me with numbers? The cultivator shouted asking. So what if I am? Not much. Lin Feng lightly clapped his hands and then one after another golden arhats emerged from the light haze. A 100-foot-tall arhat, its head bumping straight into the ceiling of the tunnel. Looking at it possessed a peerless pressure. And when 24 of such massive arhats appear together in the tunnel they instantly created a type of terrifying pressure that covered the skies. Lifting their eyes and looking, in the entire tunnel the cultivators of the House of the Marquis could not see the stone walls and the ceiling of the tunnel, they could only see the colossal bodies of the golden arhats. 24 golden arhats, 24 foundation establishment stages, this kind of line up appearing in front of the cultivators of the Five Elements sect virtually made them completely break down. They blankly watched as the golden arhats surrounded them. Lin Feng's soft laughter rose up in the light haze. Bullying me with numbers. Hee. The yellow-clothed old man's face was ghastly pale but he could still maintain his composure. Don't panic, this should be a formation, just charge out of the area of the spell formation. The other 4 people also calmed down. The 5 people cast a spell together and 5-colored divine light flashed in the Buddhist light formation. Different from the formation when fighting the Society of the Strong Gale before, this time the 5 people were completely serious. The 5 people all spit out a mouth of vital blood filled with their own vital energy. The vital blood landed in the 5-colored divine light and rapidly evaporated while a change occurred to the 5-colored divine light. At this moment, the originally distinctly separate 5 colors of the pillar of light had mixed together and turned into a beam of black light. The black light was like a slit that had suddenly split open in a piece of black silk. Brown soil slowly seeped out from the slit, gathering together and spitting out a tender green bud. It rapidly grew in the wind and the surrounding air magically congealed into drops of glistening water droplets, sprinkling down on the bud and giving bloom to a gorgeous and burning flower of fire. A faint golden glow flashed from the stamen of the fire flower. The next moment a tiny golden sword shot out from the stamen, arcing across the air like fleeting swan. The sword aura was subtle, it looked unassuming but it was filled with destructive power. The lethality of this beam of sword aura is not the least bit weaker than an Aurus core talisman. Lin Feng who was hidden within the light haze was indifferent towards it. With a thought, Buddhist light flickered above the heads of the 24 arhat light figures and blended together, turning into a golden disc and smashing towards the sword aura. Just like a thin and delicate sword encountering a giant axe that could split the world, in moaning sounds that sounded like crying the long sword was humorously but also tragically split into broken pieces. The 5 people coughed out blood in unison. The yellow-clothed old man howled. Run! Every man who gets away counts. Hearing this Lin Feng laughed saying. Nobody's getting away. The glaring eyes of the arhat suppressed the heavens. Crush! 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 The 24 golden arhats opened wide their eyes and shouted out together, 48 giant, shiny golden hands pressed down together. In the sound of shouting and screaming the cultivators of the 5 Elements sect were all killed by the golden arhats. The purple-fine-clothed middle-aged man who had fallen to the ground unconscious before suddenly jumped up from the ground and ignited a talisman in his hand. He roared hoarsely. You will pay. The talisman was lit ablaze, flickering with the light of fire in the air. The fine-clothed middle-aged man extended his finger and wrote a giant Buddha character in the air. TL. This is the character. Pausing for a moment, he then wrote the character U. TL. This is the character. A thought rose up in Lin Feng's heart and he did not stop him at the first moment. Pausing for a moment, only after the two characters, Buddha, and U, were lit ablaze together with the talisman and turned into a beam of light piercing through the air, did he control the Arhat formation and also kill the fine-clothed middle-aged man. Using unmatched power to sweep away 6 Foundation Establishment stage cultivators, Lin Feng was pleased in his heart. Even though he's already dealt with 2 Aurus Core stage cultivators before, those 2 times were both achieved under near death circumstances using trickery. They weren't like this time, completely fair and square, using his own strength to crush the enemy and winning with great satisfaction. Lin Feng said in his heart. Sure enough, increasing one's own strength is the absolute principle. These 24 Sariras really are good stuff. They themselves can provide sufficient mana to supply the spell formation and don't need to waste Lin Feng's mana, allowing Lin Feng, who is at the Qi disciple stage, to be also able to use the 24 Heaven Arhat formation, this kind of overpowering formation. Retracting the Sariras and formation, Xiao Yan and Xiao Budian walked over and greeted him again. Master. Xiao Budian flattered Lin Feng with a giant grin. Master is so amazing. Lin Feng smiled and patted his tiny head, turning his head and looking towards Zhu Yi, who had a quiet expression. Right now Zhu Yi has already completely calmed down. He bowed towards Lin Feng. Thank you for saving me. Lin Feng's expression was calm. He didn't now say anything, he knows that Zhu Yi still has something to say. Sure enough, after being silent for a moment, Zhu Yi continued saying. I have one question, I hope that you can answer it for me. Lin Feng waved his sleeves. Speak your mind. Zhu Yi inhaled a deep breath and slowly asked. May I ask, in your heart, in this world, is reasoning the biggest or is strength the biggest? Lin Feng looked closely at Zhu Yi. The green-clothed scholar's eyes were calm and resolute, clearly he has his own answer. Chapter 52. 3 in 1 Big Gift. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. Zhu Yi asked seriously. May I ask, in your heart, in this world, is reasoning the biggest or is strength the greatest? Without strength you will be unable to uphold your reason. With empty strength but no reason, it is nothing but mindless violence. Lin Feng smiled lightly. What is the biggest in the world? A person with strength speaking reason, this reason is the biggest. Zhu Yi's eyes exploded with an astonishing spirit. That's right. If I had your strength, I would definitely dare to stand up for myself in front of my father. What is the biggest in the world? Reason is the biggest. Father and son can also argue by reasoning, even emperors and officials can argue by reasoning. If the prince have great faults, they ought to remonstrate with him, and if he do not listen to them after they have done so again and again, they ought to dethrone him. Those subservient principles of my father have strayed from the true nature of scholars. But towards these principles, with my feeble strength, how can I argue over him? If the king makes a great mistake, then scholars need to dissuade him. If the king does not listen repeatedly and insists upon his actions, then he will be dethroned. This is the principle of scholars. Unfortunately, without strength I am unable to uphold these principles. Just as Master said, speaking reason with strength, this is the correct path. Finishing speaking, Zhu Yi lifted the lap of his robe and kneeled on the ground, kowtowing heavily. Please take me in, Master. Zhu Yi is willing to practice under Master's teachings and learn Tao techniques, learn reason. Lin Feng secretly breathed a sigh of relief. The third one, the hardships all these days, is all worth it. Officially taking in Zhu Yi as his disciple, the third grid of data appeared in the disciple system that belongs to Zhu Yi. Name: Zhu Yi. Age: 15 years 3 months. Current cultivation level: Guiding energy into the body, about to enter Chi Disciple Level 1. Potential attributes. Bone root. 7. Comprehension. 9. Will. 8. Blessings. 10. Recommended teaching plan. Recommended to practice Thunder class or Buddhist Tao techniques. In terms of abilities, recommended to practice spells as the main direction of development. Lin Feng pondered for a moment. Even though he has the Kitagarbha Sutra and the Art of Akala, these two top-notch Tao techniques, he still decided to pass on to Zhu Yi, the 9-Heaven Thunder technique. The reason for this is because he's got a few more Thunder class abilities and spells on his hands. Paired up with the 9-Heaven Thunder technique, it is more advantageous for combat. This is your eldest apprentice. Brother Xiao Yan, and also my current head disciple. Lin Feng pointed at Xiao Yan and then pointed towards Xiao Budian. This is your junior apprentice. Brother Shi Tianhao. Originally he was the first disciple whom I took in, but he is a big sloth and voluntarily chose to be the smallest. Zhu Yi looked towards Xiao Yan, his eyes flashing. He then bowed towards him. Greetings, eldest apprentice, brother. Xiao Yan had his arms behind his head. He smiled and said with a lazy attitude. No need to be so formal, between us apprentice. Brothers, there's no need to be so courteous. Zhu Yi smiled lightly and still very seriously clasped his hands and saluted Xiao Budian. After pausing for a moment he said. Junior apprentice. Brother Tianhao. Xiao Budian bowed towards him with a smiling face. Greetings, senior apprentice. Brother. Zhu Yi took a deep look at him and didn't say anything more. He said in his heart. People say it matters not when we start learning, whoever attains shall be the teacher. Compared to this junior apprentice. Brother, there is too much of a difference between us. I need to do my best to catch up and then surpass him to be able to achieve the effect of acting by example as the senior apprentice. Brother. When the three apprentice. Brothers finished greeting each other, Lin Feng opened his mouth and said. I travel the world and will not stop in the Zhou dynasty for very long. I also don't have any intentions of taking up residence in Tianjin City. What plans do you have? If you want to remain in the Zhou dynasty, I can pass on Tao techniques for you to record and then return at regular intervals to see you. Zhu Yi thought seriously for a moment and responded saying. The ancients say it is better to travel 10,000 miles than to read 10,000 books. I am willing to follow Master to travel the world. After pausing for a moment he said softly. I don't intend to participate in this year's imperial examination anymore, but 3 years later I hope that Master can allow me to return to Tianjin City to participate in the imperial examination. Lin Feng smiled. He knows that besides attending the imperial examination to complete his aspiration, Zhu Yi also has thoughts of returning home in glory after attaining success in his cultivation prowess and reasoning with his father, the Marquis of Xuanji. Entering under my teaching, all you need to do is obey my rules. I will never restrict your freedom. Lin Feng smiled saying. Like I said, you have to walk your own path on your own, for your own matters, make your own decisions. Zhu Yi smiled saying. I understand. Lin Feng led his 3 disciples and left the Black Cloud underground palace. Standing at the entrance of the underground palace, Lin Feng felt regretful in his heart. I have the Black Cloud flag, this underground palace is like my own home. If there wasn't the Nether Blood River causing trouble, I could treat this place as my base. Too bad, it really is too bad. Same as the previous 2 times, after taking in Zhu Yi as his disciple, the reward the system gave was also a lottery chance and 500 trading points. Lin Feng still continued to save up his trading points. He already has his eyes on something good in the trading system, but it is very costly and requires him to save up a bit more. In any case, after looting Hui Ku and the 6 cultivators of the house of the Marquis, Lin Feng has obtained many cultivation pills beneficial to cultivating. Even though he's got an extra mouth to feed now, it is still enough to use. Lin Feng entered the lottery system. Let's see if anything good will appear in the lottery this time. This time Lin Feng hopes to be able to get a martial skill. Zhu Yi is suited to practice spells. Cloud Dragon Escape and the Nine Heavens Thunder Summoning are enough for him to learn for a while, while over at Xiao Budian, who is suited to practice both spells and martial skills, Lin Feng has still yet to truly teach him a martial skill. Not to mention Xiao Yan, who is suited to specialize in the martial path. Mr. Vulture's bone mace is actually refined using a martial ability called White Bone Hammer Smash. The old geezer himself is proficient in the martial way. He was at an old age and was unable to increase his cultivation prowess. His chi and blood gradually declined, which is why he used his own martial skill to refine this bone mace magic item to fight enemies. White Bone Hammer Smash is actually pretty good, but including the art of Akala that everyone knows comes from the Great Thunder Monastery, if Lin Feng is always teaching his disciples abilities and Dao techniques from other sects, it is inevitable that they will have doubts in their hearts. Thus Lin Feng hopes to obtain a martial ability of less well-known origin. Of course its power also has to be acceptable. If he can't get one from the lottery draw, then Lin Feng will probably have to bear the pain and expend trading points to trade for a martial skill from the system. Ocean Wave Palm. Not bad, but it doesn't have much growth. Thunder Arhat Fist. The martial skill for monks of the Great Thunder Monastery to build their foundation. No good. Disregarding its low level, any person would be able to recognize that it's a martial skill of the Great Thunder Monastery. Very unluckily, the three abilities in the wheel system were all spells. And while the three types of abilities in the dice system were all martial skills, it's unfortunate that they are either not strong enough or are the signature martial skills of other sections. People can recognize them with one glance. The third one. Divine Vulture Palm, the famous martial skill of the wandering cultivator Master Vulture from thousands of years ago. But since Master Vulture passed away, it has already been lost. This one's not bad. Finally, his luck wasn't completely horrible. After looking at the description of the third martial skill, Lin Feng's eyes lit up. Divine Vulture Palm is in the 8th grid. In other words, when Lin Feng rolls his dice, he needs to roll an 8 to be able to obtain this martial skill. The number is very lucky. I choose you. Giving the command in his mind, the 3 dice instantly started spinning. Like the previous time, the 3 dice still don't stop at the same time. They become still one after another, and very quickly the first die stopped spinning. A giant 6 was facing upward. Lin Feng's heart instantly sank. It was just the first die and it was already a 6. To obtain the Divine Vulture Palm at 8 points, the last 2 dice can only roll ones. Not even an extra point is okay. This probability is honestly too low. Very soon the second die also stopped. It was precisely a 1. Lin Feng breathed out a heavy sigh of relief. His eyes stared closely at the last die and he silently prayed in his heart. I only want a 1, I only want a 1. At the same time he rapidly scanned each of the potential items he could get. The first 2 dice add up to a sum of 7, then after the last dice settles down, the potential total is 8.13. Number 8, Divine Vulture Palm. Number 9, nothing. Number 10, an Azure Spirit Pill used to cure poisons. Number 11, a 1-time use talisman with decent power, Thunder Spirit Gold Talisman. Number 12, the Mystery Chest with a question mark. Number 13. Wait a second, Mystery Chest. Lin Feng was slightly surprised. A thought was turning in his mind when the third dice had already stopped. Lin Feng swallowed his saliva and looked over. Facing upwards on the third dice was a big 5. 6 plus 1 plus 5, 12. Lin Feng stared with mixed feelings at the mysterious chest that had already appeared before him. Speaking of it, his luck is actually pretty good. Out of a total of 4 lottery draws, he got the special prize twice. But who knows exactly what will come out from the chest. Right now Lin Feng desperately needs a dependable martial skill. With a nervous heart Lin Feng opened the chest. 3 orbs of light flew out from the chest. Lin Feng was stunned. He then saw the first orb of light fly to his front. The light dispersed and a fire-red-colored pill landed in Lin Feng's palm. 9 transformations blazing spirit pill, condensation of the fire essence of the world. Hot but not intense, has a miraculous effect in healing cold injuries. Lin Feng let out a sigh. I have no need for this thing. Forget it, I'll put it away first just in case. I got the big special prize, don't give me something entirely useless. Lin Feng was rather upset. After putting away the 9 transformations blazing spirit pill, the second orb of light landed in front of him. The light dispersed and revealed its true form. A martial skill, Wayward Flying Sword. 1000 years ago, Wayward Sword Saint's secret sword technique. Using this sword technique, Wayward Sword Saint climbed into Shu and challenged the Shu sword sect, emerging unscathed. Since the death of Wayward Sword Saint, it has already been lost. This is a martial skill even more awesome than the divine vulture palm. Looking at the sword manual of the Wayward Flying Sword in front of him, the depression in his heart was instantly swept away. He only felt like laughing towards the sky. With a giant grin on his face, Lin Feng put away the sword manual and then stared at the third orb of light. He was delighted in his heart. The special prize this time is really awesome. Looks like it's a 3-in-1 big gift, giving out 3 items at once. Wonder what good thing this third one will be. The orb of light landed in Lin Feng's palm and the light dispersed. Lin Feng looked at the item and suddenly froze. He blinked his eyes and for a moment he didn't know what to say. Jade Tree of Knowledge Leaf, the leaf of one of the 4 great spiritual trees of the world, the Jade Tree of Knowledge. Lin Feng was slightly at a loss. What do I need this thing for? Jade Tree of Knowledge, Jade Tree of Knowledge. Isn't that the true form of that female demon Long Yi? If you have no need for this thing, then why not give it to me? Lin Feng was in the middle of thinking when an extremely lazy voice suddenly rose up in his mind. That is a female's voice. It is not crisp and pleasant, instead it is low and hoarse. But it possesses a peculiar charm and is very alluring, leading the heart to willingly sink into the bottomless abyss. But right now Lin Feng was covered with chills. He had an expression like he'd seen a ghost and he nearly screamed. You're Long Yi. Chapter 53. None of them are fools. You are listening at novelfull.audio. If you have no use for this Jade Tree of Knowledge leaf, then why not give it to me? Long Ye's tone of voice was soft and soothing, as if she was lightly whispering words of love into her lover's ear and pouting. But hearing her voice, Lin Feng's back became covered in cold sweat and he felt his hands and feet become cold. At the first moment he determined that the voice actually came from his Northern Aurora sword. This demoness, has she been attached to my spell sword the entire time? Starting from half a year ago at Stone Village she already. Countless thoughts flashed across Lin Feng's heart. He forced himself to calm down and slowly opened his mouth, saying, You're finally willing to speak. Only when the words left his mouth did Lin Feng discover that even his voice was a bit hoarse, but he still did his best to appear nonchalant, as if he already knew that Long Yi was hiding beneath his eyelids the entire time. Lin Feng's mind entered into the Northern Aurora sword. A blanket of white light flashed by and a human figure immediately appeared in Lin Feng's mind. Long hair flowing behind her, bare-footed, and her clothes as white as snow. Her face was inhumanly beautiful. It was precisely Long Yi. Her beauty was the greatest that Lin Feng had ever seen. Only Yan Mingyue could compare with her. This pair of archrivals really could be called peerless beauties. Unfortunately Lin Feng was entirely not in the mood of admiring the beautiful woman in front of him. He still remembers in the past to save Xiao Budian, he led Muron Yanran and company to fight with Long Yi, and then he took advantage of the situation, destroyed Long Ye's body with a beam of Northern Aurora mystic light. Long Ye's, I've remembered you, at that time was still fresh in his ears, making Lin Feng shudder in fear. Long Yi laughed softly. I really can't see through you. Hey, exactly what is your cultivation level? Lin Feng inhaled a deep breath and said. Before I was merciful and let you live, looks like you have yet to learn your lesson. Long Yi laughed saying. I've learned my lesson, that's why even until now I haven't killed you yet. Lin Feng's heart felt a chill, he then continued to hear Long Yi say. Because I really can't see through you. I consider my cultivation level as relatively decent. Even though now I am heavily injured, my judgment still remains but I cannot see through you. If I say that you are at a high level, but when you use your escape technique to travel you are just at the Qi disciple stage. You never fight on your own and only control this foundation establishment stage spell sword to fight enemies. You also only have a Qi disciple stage standard when setting up formations. Long Yi spoke softly. Do you really only have a level of Qi disciple stage and it is simply that you possess some sort of treasure that can obstruct the probing of others? Honestly, there were so many times where I almost could not resist attacking you. Lin Feng secretly clenched his fists. He acted calm and said lightly. How can the likes of you see through my depths? Long Yi quietly stared at Lin Feng. She suddenly smiled, her smile was like the moon breaking through clouds, stunning all of creation. So, I've changed my mind. I won't bother you anymore, instead I'll make a trade with you. Lin Feng rapidly calculated in his heart to see whether or not he could kill this demoness and completely get rid of all future troubles. While calculating in his heart Lin Feng casually responded. A trade. I have the jade tree of knowledge leaf that you want, what can you give me? Long Yi brushed the hair by her ear, the corner of her lips revealing a faint smile. You seem to be looking for satisfactory disciples. Murderous intent surged in Lin Feng's heart, the highest level of alert rang in his heart. The system is his greatest secret, nobody can know about it. Because this damned system setting is incredibly bullshit. If Lin Feng does not complete the main quest he will be directly killed by the system. If he lets people know the contents of his quest and then they obstruct his way, then Lin Feng will really be done for. The 24 Sariras and the Black Cloud flag were all in place. Lin Feng was prepared to strike out at any moment while on the surface he was still acting as if nothing had happened. Seeing outstanding talent anybody would be moved, I am naturally no exception. Long Yi said. Oh. But I've noticed that your disciples are all people of talent who were previously buried. Others were unable to discover their uniqueness but you had a discerning eye. Lin Feng chuckled dryly. He did not pick up the conversation but his murderous intent was already nearly inconcealable. But he then heard Long Yi continue saying. Seeing you taking in disciples I know that you have big plans. You have plans of establishing your own sect. Regardless of you humans or we demons, we all need a suitable place to cultivate. If you want to establish a new sect then you require even more a suitable place to act as your base. I just so happen to know a place that is still ownerless, you might need it. Lin Feng's mana that was already circulating was stopped right in its tracks, getting stuck in his chest and making him nearly cough out blood from the stuffiness. After a long while Lin Feng finally caught his breath and he asked snappily. Where? Long Yi smiled saying. You've agreed to my trade. Lin Feng calmed his heart and said calmly. How do I know whether you speak the truth or lies? We've had some nasty conflicts before, you don't have the capital for me to believe me. Long Yi rolled her eyes at him. Her expression was exceedingly charming, just like she was flirting with her lover. If you want to increase the price then just say so. Lin Feng was overwhelmed in his heart and only calmed his mind after a difficult struggle. Long Yi said. Okay then, I'll add another item. This item I can give you first and then you give me the tree leaf and then I'll tell you the location of the place and then you go check it out yourself. No matter what you don't lose, are you satisfied now? Lin Feng slightly furrowed his brows. What item? Long Yi raised her hand, her fair palm was holding a short, intricate stone flute. The stone flute revealed an ancient and great aura. Lin Feng's pupils slightly retracted. He said in his heart. This aura, I seem to have encountered it somewhere before. Where? That's right, this is the aura of the Tao technique of the Void Temple. I've sensed it on Yang Mingyue before. This stone flute is related to the Void Temple. Thinking here, the conversation with Yan Mingyue that day instantly surfaced in Lin Feng's mind. Yang Mingyue once mentioned that there is something in Long Ye's hands that regardless of her or the Void Temple have to try and get back. Could it be this stone flute? Lin Feng lifted his head and looked at Long Yi. He didn't speak, but from his eyes Long Yi could already understand his query. Thus she nodded her head. That's right, this is the item Yan Mingyue is looking for. But I also do not know exactly of what importance this item has towards her and the Void Temple. She crooked her head and looked at Lin Feng with a cute and playful expression. Are you willing to make this trade? Lin Feng did not speak, seemingly weighing things out in his heart. But in reality there was a storm raging in his heart, countless thoughts flashed by. That day this demoness clearly bore a grudge against me, why can she act as though nothing happened now? Dovico Lin Feng didn't believe that this Long Yi would have a big heart and not care about old grudges. Besides being unable to grasp Lin Feng's true strength and thus causing her to have concerns, Long Yi should also have other intentions. For her there is more good than harm in keeping Lin Feng alive. Where is the good? There can only be one possibility, and that is targeting Yan Mingyue and the Void Temple. A light of understanding rose up in Lin Feng's heart. The mutual probing and repeated secret battles between him and Yan Mingyue before all landed in Long Ye's eyes. From Long Ye's point of view, keeping him alive is thus leaving behind a possibility of hindering Yan Mingyue. If I want to establish the #1 sect in the world and become history's #1 founder, then I will definitely clash with the current big sections. The Void Temple stands at the very front. Lin Feng laughed helplessly in his heart. This demoness may not know this point, but she undoubtedly made a correct choice. Thinking here, a thought suddenly flashed across in Lin Feng's mind. Yan Mingyue clearly knew that he learned the Heaven Cage sigil, but she didn't do anything. Besides being unable to see the depths of his strength, is it not also because she has a grudge with Long Yi? At the time Lin Feng hoped for Yan Mingyue to go deal with Long Yi, perhaps Yan Mingyue also had the same intentions, wanting to borrow Lin Feng's hand to go deal with Long Yi. Yan Mingyue may truly want to get back the stone flute in Long Yi's hands, but she won't necessarily fight to the death against Long Yi. On one hand she's worried that they'll both be heavily injured or even go down together, on the other hand she very likely wants to leave behind Long Yi to conversely hinder Lin Feng. These two women, they really aren't easy to deal with. But I'm not easy to bully either. After planning things out, Lin Feng made up his mind. Chapter 54. All sides take action. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After obtaining the Jade Tree of Knowledge leaf, what will you do? Even though he already had a plan in his heart, Lin Feng still opened his mouth and asked. Yan Mingyue wants to return to the Void Temple, I naturally also have my own place to return to. Long Yi smiled faintly. I've already said before, I don't have any thoughts of bothering you anymore. For your own good you'd better not. Lin Feng said coolly. I accept your trade, it's a deal. Lin Feng believes that if Long Yi obtains the Jade Tree of Knowledge leaf, then she will definitely recover a significant amount of her strength. After all, her true form is a Jade Tree of Knowledge. After completing this trade, Lin Feng can also use Long Yi to go hinder Yan Mingyue. Lin Feng didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Them three people have fallen into this kind of bizarre and also tangled up circle of plotting. Each person hopes that the opponent in front of them can go deal with and hinder the third person. Playing with the stone flute in his hand, Lin Feng looked at Long Yi's departing figure with a thoughtful expression. In a sense, Long Yi has essentially thrown a hot potato at Lin Feng. If he uses it well, Lin Feng can use this stone flute to scoop up sufficient benefits from the Void Temple. But conversely, it can also bring disaster to Lin Feng. If the number one holy land in the world ignores everything and wants to forcefully take a certain item, nobody in the entire world dares to say that they can definitely keep it. Lin Feng pondered in his heart. Maybe the conflict that exists between Yan Mingyue and the new Taoist wayfarer of the Void Temple is something that he can take advantage of. Speaking of it, what exactly does this stone flute do? Why does the Void Temple value this little thing so highly? Lin Feng scratched his head, he couldn't feel any strong mana fluctuations from the stone flute. The little things looks to be so ordinary. Lin Feng shook his head and retracted his thoughts. The matter of the cultivation abode can be put back, currently the most important matter is still my fourth disciple. Finally, this is the last one. Hopefully he can successfully complete it. It will definitely be successful. Right. The capital city of the Zhou dynasty, Tianjing, the south-east sector of the city, the house of the Marquis of Xuanji. Inside of the courtyard stood a skinny old man. The old man held a talisman in his hand, 2 words were clearly printed on the talisman, a Buddha character and a Yu character. The skinny old man creased his brows. Huang San failed and it's related to the scum of the Buddhist sect and the Qin dynasty's Yu clan. Around him stood a circle of cultivators of the house of the Marquis, but in front of this old man they were all reverent and respectful. They did not release a single sound for fear of disturbing the old man's thoughts. This skinny old man is the second steward of the house of the Marquis of Xuanji, people call him Mr. Tao Er. TL. Er means 2. San means 3. Fatty Huang San is as venomous as a snake. There are also people who dare to call him a slave behind his back. But with Tao Er, even members of the main branch of the Zhu clan have to respectfully call him Mr. Tu when seeing him. The reason for it is because this old man who looks skinny and shriveled, like even a gust of wind could blow him down, is sufficiently strong. Whenever the Marquis of Xuanji goes on his campaign of conquest, this skinny old man will always follow beside him. He has experienced an untold number of wars, fights, schemes and assassinations. The number of enemies who have died by his hands, just the number of Oris core stage cultivators already surpasses the double digits. In front of him Huang San is just a child. After a moment Mr. Tao Er put away the talisman in his hand and turned around walking towards the main house in the residence. Seeing him the guard hurriedly greeted him. Mr. Tu. Mr. Tao Er nodded his head. I need to go see the Marquis, it is an urgent matter. The old man entered the main house and then came out after a while. Facing the cultivators of the house of the Marquis waiting for him, Tao Er slowly opened his mouth, but his tone of voice was filled with an air of killing intent. 3 things. 1. Gather up people and head towards the place Huang San and company went missing. Search every single inch of the place, I want clues. 2. Capture all of the already known members of the Society of the Strong Gale and the scum of the Great Thunder Monastery, don't let any one of them escape. 3. Come together with me and head towards the residence of the Qin Dynasty Diplomatic Corps to interrogate the members of the Yu clan about this matter. Tao Er spoke slowly, every word weighed heavily. The Marquis' original words were only 2 words, investigate thoroughly. Tianjing City. A day later, a big residence in the western sector of the city, this is the residence of the Great Qin Dynasty's Diplomatic Corps. In the West Branch, after sending off Mr. Tao Er who visited, a middle-aged man in a body of sapphire blue robes sat silently in a chair. A young man across from him said angrily, Zhu Hongwu is too arrogant. His subordinate goes missing and he puts the blame on us. The blue-robed middle-aged man glanced at him. What do you say we should do? The young man answered without even thinking. Do what? We don't do anything. What does this have to do with us? We're clearly being framed. The blue-robed middle-aged man looked at him and sighed in disappointment. The young man knew right away that he answered incorrectly and hurriedly lowered his head. The blue-robed middle-aged man's expression was calm, but the words that he spoke blazed with a murderous aura. Somebody is framing we the Yu clan and we just do nothing, just watching them frame us and pour dirty water on our bodies. The young man woke up. You mean? The blue-robed middle-aged man snorted. Whoever dares to mess with the Yu clan must pay for it. He looked at the young man. I'll hand this over to you. The house of the Marquis of Xuanji investigates theirs, we'll investigate our own. I'd like to see who dares to mess with the Yu clan. The young man hesitated for a moment. But we are after all serving as envoys in the Zhou dynasty, this place isn't our territory and we don't have enough people. The blue-robed middle-aged man said coolly. Just contact the main family. His gaze was a bit deep and quiet. It really is eventful lately, it's also not very peaceful over at the Shi clan. It's said that somebody wants to harm Shi Tianyi. During these moments we cannot fall into disorder, but even more so we cannot do nothing, like that the enemy will instead swarm over all at once. Around the Black Cloud underground palace, a gray-clothed person stood in the deep mountains. He wore a massive straw hat that covered his face. There is the aura of Sariras here. Hui Ku was here before and also fought with someone. The gray-clothed person silently felt the change in the surrounding spiritual energy. Fortunately the Sariras were not damaged. Hui Ku, you sect betraying scum, you dare to defile the bones of the sect elders like so. I will take back the Sariras and let their souls rest in nirvana. As for you, this piece of scum who defiles his elders, I will send you into the cycle of reincarnation. Upon smelling the scent of a human, countless savage beasts gathered around the gray-clothed person. The gray-clothed person took off the straw hat, revealing a shiny bald head. A strong light surged in his eyes, and when the beasts came in contact with his gaze, they all scattered in fright. Some weaker beasts were actually so frightened that they were unable to control their bladder and bowels, collapsing to the ground. With a droop of the gray-clothed monk's eyelids, the light vanished and he became ordinary again. Putting on the straw hat, his body flickered and he had already vanished within the vast woodlands. The battle at the Black Cloud underground palace caused all sides to take action. Lin Feng was unaware of this. He did not hang around the Black Cloud underground palace and instead brought along his disciples, hitting the road. Not sure if he already used up all of his luck before this, during his entire trip he did not encounter a fourth candidate who met the criterion as his disciple. Do I have to go back and find Xiao Zhener, that little girl? Lin Feng was stumped in his heart. He traversed half of the great Zhou dynasty's land and also passed through thousands of miles of territory of the great Qin dynasty, but he still had no gains. But time was rapidly flying by, and in the turn of an eye only 1 month remained of the 1-year quest time limit. Right now the master and disciples were at the southern border of the great Qin dynasty. Even though Lin Feng was anxious in his heart, in front of his 3 disciples he still maintained his composure. While traveling, the master and disciples also trained. This day Zhu Yi's cultivation had broken through a bottleneck and he was about to increase his level. Thinking for a moment, Lin Feng left behind Xiao Yan and Xiao Budian to protect Zhu Yi while he controlled the Black Cloud flag to wander around in the area. Lightly shaking the flag, under the flowing black light, Lin Feng opened up the void and rapidly advanced forward. He was in the middle of flying in the void when a blanket of dazzling light suddenly lit up before Lin Feng's eyes. Where the light vanished was a hazy mist, as if chaos was raging. Everything looked hazy and blurred. Lin Feng was startled. What's going on? The Black Cloud flag broke open the void and actually brought me to an alternate space. Chapter 55. One Step Late. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. With the flickering of the light, Lin Feng controlled the Black Cloud flag and actually barged into an alternate space. The space was shrouded in mist and everything was chaotic and hazy. After the mist dispersed, what entered the eyes was a boundless void. It appeared desolate and ancient, light occasionally flickered in the darkness, but it was an uncountable distance away from Lin Feng. Lin Feng was alarmed. What exactly is this place? He was in the middle of being puzzled, and a great mana aura permeated the surroundings and constantly expanded. The void ruptured once more and a dazzling light once again filled Lin Feng's vision. When his vision returned to normal, he had already returned to Heaven Primal. Moreover, it looked like his location was still at his previous flight path. Was I simply pulled into that void space by chance? Lin Feng pondered. When he turned his head, a face was suddenly imprinted into his eyes. This is a large old man. He has a wide face with big ears and looks quite dignified. He was staring at Lin Feng and sizing him up. His expression was extremely perplexed. Lin Feng's heart skipped beat and he thought of that vast mana fluctuation he felt in that void space. No matter if it's Elder Li of the Blaze Sword Sect or Lu Yang of the Empty Shoe Sword Sect, their mana may be deep and powerful, but compared to this big old man before him they are not worth mentioning. Lin Feng had a guess in his heart, but he didn't even dare to continue thinking along that path because that would make him lose all courage. At this moment the big old man opened his mouth and spoke. His voice was like rolling thunder. I am Master Pu Bei of the Eternal Tao Sect. Who are you? The Eternal Tao Sect. Lin Feng did not have any impressions in his mind. Only after checking the system did he know that this is a sect at the southern border of the Great Qin dynasty. The master with the highest cultivation level in the sect is at the nascent soul stage. Without a primordial soul cultivator holding down the fort, this kind of sect naturally cannot compare to the 3 great holy lands and the 9 heavens sword alliance. But with a nascent soul stage monstrosity they could be considered a prominent sect at the southern border of the Qin dynasty. The location of the sect is near the Qin dynasty's most southern area, the ancient star domain. That place is the boundary between the human world and the demon world. While checking information, Lin Feng said, I am a wild cultivator, just call me Daoist Lin. Not waiting for Master Pu Bei to open his mouth again, Lin Feng asked in advance. Looking at your appearance you seem to be hurt. Master Pu Bei did not respond and closely observed Lin Feng for a moment again, but he still couldn't see the depths of Lin Feng's cultivation level. Under Master Pu Bei's great pressure, Lin Feng felt like he was a small boat in a raging storm. Wave after wave crashed against him that could engulf him at any moment. Don't mention retaliating, even if Master Pu Bei doesn't do anything, simply by applying mental pressure Lin Feng is unable to last for very long. Luckily, after probing for a long time, Master Pu Bei still couldn't perceive Lin Feng's cultivation level. With doubts in his heart he retracted his mana and Lin Feng finally felt a lot better. That's right, I was wounded by someone in the void battleground. But it is not serious, I can recover after a brief period of closed-door training. Blue energy faintly flickered over Master Pu Bei's face, clearly the enemy had penetrated his body using ice-class mana. Lin Feng's heart stirred. The void battleground. Looks like that void world I accidentally entered before is the void battleground. Lin Feng has heard of the void battleground. That is an alternate space independent from the heaven primal world. It resides alone beyond the heavens and is vast in space. Even though human cultivators have always been exploring that place, there still remains many regions and areas within the void battleground that remain unknown. Inside of the void battleground there are many cultivation resources that are scarce in the heaven primal world. But spatial turbulences surge within and it is extremely unstable and dangerous. Even if Aurus core stage cultivators enter within it is still almost certain death. Thus in general only great cultivators of the nascent soul stage or primordial spirit stage enter within to search for treasure. But even so, unknown dangers and interpersonal conflict cause many powerful cultivators to fall within that void. Incidentally, the old elder of Stone Village once mentioned that Xiao Budian's father and grandfather regularly enter into the void battleground. In fact, it was precisely because his grandfather went missing in the void battleground that his parents went to go save him, thus causing Xiao Budian to suffer disaster. This progenitor of the Eternal Tao sect, Master Pubei, in front of him is clearly also a member of the people who enter into the void battleground, and in the end he suffered a defeat within. Lin Feng said nonchalantly. The void battleground. There may be risk, but presumably you did not walk away with empty pockets either. Master Pubei snorted. Just risk. The progenitor of the Mount Heng school who went in together with me directly perished within. If not for you suddenly barging in and disturbing the void, thus allowing me to seize the chance to rip open a rift, this old life of mine would probably also be lost within. Lin Feng thought for a moment and took out the 9 transformations blazing spirit pill that he got from the lottery. Meeting is a form of fate. I see that your injury is brought about by ice mana. With your mana, even though you can heal yourself, it will undoubtedly waste a lot of time. I just so happen to have a 9 transformations blazing spirit pill here. It has a miraculous effect in healing this type of injury. I give it to you as a gift. Master Pubei was greatly surprised. He doesn't even need to take over the pill, with just a glance he knows that Lin Feng speaks the truth. He couldn't help but be immensely puzzled. Why do you give it to me? He may say that, but this old man was truly domineering and he bluntly grabbed over the pill. Lin Feng smiled faintly. I wanted to give it to you and so I did so. Where do all these whys come from? Master Pubei's eyes flashed. He laughed loudly and said. It was I who was foolish. Okay then, I accept your kindness. If you have time, I welcome you at any time to come to the Eternal Tao sect as a guest. Lin Feng laughed. When I have the time. Finishing speaking, he turned around and left. Master Pubei was eager to take the medicine to heal his injury, and so he naturally did not ask Lin Feng to stay. Even though Lin Feng doesn't know how much of an effect it will have, but he is still very happy to be able to obtain the favor of a nascent soul stage cultivator using a pill that he doesn't need. Returning back to the location of his 3 disciples, the 3 people were having a lively chat. Lin Feng asked. What are you guys talking so happily about? Xiao Budian smiled, saying. Master, just now we heard someone tell a strange story. Around here there is a sect called the Mount Heng School. A couple of days ago they opened their doors for new disciples. There was a big brother who didn't pass the assessment and was unable to enter the sect. In the end he actually jumped off a cliff on Mount Heng wanting to suicide. He failed to kill himself and was rescued by the people of the Mount Heng School. I heard that they're going to make an exception and take him in as a registered disciple. TL. In general it goes something like registered disciples, outer disciples, inner disciples, core disciples and direct disciple. At the side Zhu Yi sighed, saying. He is a persistent one and his personality is especially unyielding. But in the end he got what he wanted and his hardships were not for naught. Xiao Yan on the other hand shook his head. Entering into the sect like that, what can he do even if he gets a master? The elders of the sect reluctantly took him in so as to not have a reputation of driving a person to death. They definitely won't carefully teach him, and his sect brothers will also mock him, saying that he was only able to enter the sect due to his suicide. Zhu Yi said. Constantly striving to improve oneself is worth commending. I just hope that he can continue persevering, or else his pressure will becoming increasingly greater. At the beginning Lin Feng was just listening to it as a story. But as he continued listening he suddenly felt that something was a bit off. This kid, why does he sound a bit like the main character of the Trash School Mortal School of Novels? TL. The Trash School of Novels is where the MC starts off as a piece of trash. Check out A Record of a Mortal's Journey to Immortality for the Mortal School. Lin Feng asked. Just now you guys said that the Mount Heng School has already taken him in. The 3 disciples nodded their heads together. They just brought him back to the sect. Lin Feng didn't say anything more. He brought the 3 people and immediately headed towards the Mount Heng School. While walking he felt anxious in his heart. Please get there on time. If I get there a step late and miss him, then who do I cry to? Chapter 56. Sudden surprise. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. Lin Feng rushed over to Mount Heng, but unfortunately he was indeed a step too late. All the new disciples were in the middle of the disciple ceremony. The system notification sound rose up. Discovered target suitable to becoming host's direct disciple. Lin Feng closely scanned the crowd and confirmed that the person the system is talking about is a youth at the very back of the crowd. That youth's figure is a bit thin and small. His lips are tightly pressed together and the other disciples beside him are all looking at him with expressions of disdain. A string of system notifications sounded beside Lin Feng's ear. Talent system has finished organizing the data. Target number 5's data is as below. Bone root. 5. Comprehension. 10. Will. 10. Blessings. 8. Conclusion. Target lacks innate talent but possesses great potential, recommended to take in as a disciple and carefully guide him, he will definitely become a pillar of the sect. Lin Feng was dumbfounded. What did he see? He actually saw 2 max attributes. In this kid's 4 data values there are actually 2 values that are a max value of 10. Comprehension is one's understanding of cultivating Dao techniques and abilities. Xiao Budian and Xiao Zhener both have a comprehension of 8. This means they can very quickly have a good grasp of anything they learn. The master only needs to teach them once and they themselves are able to build upon this foundation and obtain mastery. Xiao Yan and Zhu Yi are even higher, they both have a comprehension of 9. This means that not only do they learn quickly, they can also step out of the box and make innovations. And what does a comprehension of 10 mean? It means that he instantly grasps whatever he learns and using his own understanding, he can correct the flaws in Dao techniques and skills, making them reach a more perfect state. As for a will of 10, it indicates that this person's mind and will are extremely strong, indomitable and unyielding. Nobody and nothing can defeat his spirit. How many hundreds of millions of beings are there in the heaven primal world? Even a prodigy out of 1,000,000 is still an astronomical number, but in the end only a very few number of them are able to truly amount to something. The reason is because if one's will is not strong enough then it is very easy to waste one's gift. 2 max attributes plus a blessing of 8 made this kid's completely garbage bone root become not so glaring. Just as the system concluded, he lacks natural talent but possesses incredible potential. So much so that it's almost a cheat. Seeing the disciple ceremony in progress, Lin Feng's mind rapidly turned. What do I do? Should I just mess up this disciple ceremony? This Mount Heng school is a big sect of the southern border on par with the Eternal Dao sect, their strength is not weak. According to what that Master Pubei said, the nascent soul progenitor of this Mount Heng school perished in the void battleground. Then the strongest master here at present should be Aurus Core stage, but I don't know how many Aurus Core stages they have. This place is the base of the Mount Heng school, they have the home ground advantage. Right now there only remains not even 1 month until the time limit of the system quest. Lin Feng's expression was uncertain, he spent a great amount of effort to calm himself down. So be it, I'll secretly meet with this kid for a moment and then think about it. What is his name? Oh right, Wang Lin. Lin Feng looked on as Wang Lin entered into the Mount Heng school and heard the system notification beside his ears change to. Target matches the criterion but already has a master, needs to abolish the current master-disciple relationship to be able to become the host's disciple. Lin Feng's heart was dripping blood. God damn it, just 1 or 2 days of time. If I got here 1 or 2 days earlier then that would be right when Wang Lin was rejected by the Mount Heng school and in physical and mental pain. All I'd have to do would be to go forward and fool him a bit and I'd be able to easily take him as my disciple. Feeling any more regret doesn't help the situation, Lin Feng collected his emotions and started to make plans. Just as Xiao Yan illustrated, entering into the Mount Heng school using this kind of method, Wang Lin will definitely be detested by his teachers, scorned by his sect brothers and hated by all. His sense of belong to the sect will not be strong. Lin Feng still has a very good chance. Thus Lin Feng decisively concealed himself in the Mount Heng school. He won't and doesn't need to enter into those important places. All he has to do is find the residence for registered disciples like Wang Lin. The guard and formation restraints of this kind of place are all very lax and are not a problem for Lin Feng. Lin Feng found his way towards Wang Lin's residence and heard a couple of Mount Heng school disciples mocking Wang Lin. A person like you is practically the shame of our Mount Heng school. When the inner disciple exam comes around, why don't go try jumping off a cliff? If you can enter into the inner sect using suicide again, then I'll say you've got some skill. Wang Lin was silent, allowing them to mock him. The couple of people walked out of the room while cursing and speaking foul words. Only Wang Lin remained in the room. He let out a long breath and lowered his head, muttering to himself. Father, mother, I will definitely succeed, I will become an immortal. Lin Feng smiled. His body flickered and he had already arrived in the room. He smiled, saying, "You can't become an immortal in this kind of environment." Wang Lin was startled. He stared blankly at Lin Feng, who suddenly appeared. "Who are you?" Lin Feng lightly waved his sleeves. He didn't answer Wang Lin's question and instead asked. Cultivating and seeking the universal way is a long and rugged road. There isn't much beauty and romanticism, instead there are many thorns and difficulties. In the first place, your talent is worse than an average person. If you don't do your best to catch up, then what hope do you have of succeeding? But in this kind of sect you will only be assigned menial jobs of fetching water and cutting wood. You are called a disciple, but you are actually just manual labor. Lin Feng said calmly. Your starting point is low to begin with and your speed is even slower. How do you continue walking down this path? Wang Lin tightly pressed his lips together. He looked at Lin Feng before him, who was wearing a white, wide-sleeved robe and Taoist clothes. After a long while he opened his mouth and said, "What is your meaning?" Lin Feng sighed softly. "I've met you before when you were just born. Your natural talent may be poor, but our fates are tied together. At the time I already had thoughts of taking you as my disciple. I wanted to wait until you turned 16 before returning, but I didn't expect that you would have already entered into this Mount Heng school. If you are willing, you can leave the Mount Heng school and enter under my teaching." Lin Feng said generously. "I will carefully guide you and teach you all of my skills and abilities. I will not be like this Mount Heng school and dishonor you by ordering you around like a laborer." Speaking up to hear, Lin Feng laughed softly. "As for my ability, if you want to see it, then I'll take down this Mount Heng school in an instant." Wang Lin looked at Lin Feng in amazement. His eyes clearly held a certain degree of fervor. His lips moved, wanting to say something, but he suddenly held it back. Not only so, his gaze looking at Lin Feng even had a hint of vigilance, and his right hand subconsciously went into his clothes. Lin Feng was slightly dazed. Wang Lin's expression looking at him right now was like guarding against a thief. This was not something Lin Feng foresaw. That action of his right hand reaching into his clothes, he seems to be trying to protect something. A thought appeared in Lin Feng's heart and he cried out, "Crap," in his heart. Crap, this kid's blessing is also 8 points, could he have found sort of treasure? That appearance of Wang Lin's, he clearly thinks that Lin Feng knows his secret and is here to trick him for his treasure. Lin Feng wanted to cry. Looks he wasn't just a bit late. This Wang Lin's luck has clearly already started to take a turn for the better. His hegemony aura is flourishing and he is already about to walk upon the path of greatness that belongs to him. TL. If you're wondering about the hegemony aura, read the Dragon Proud Sky page in the Almanac of Knowledge. Regardless of whether that is some sort of super godly item or if there is an old grandpa inside, overall Wang Lin is already about to make his rebound. Lin Feng was depressed in his heart, but on the surface his expression did not change. He stared calmly at Wang Lin. "Do you find it inconceivable? No matter, make your own decisions. I will stop in the small town at the bottom of the mountain for 20 days. If you've made up your mind you can come to the town to find me. Under the circumstance where Wang Lin has already become wary of him, he cannot drag his feet and keep sticking to him, or else he will instead arouse a negative mentality in him and he will only be even more distrustful. Finishing speaking, Lin Feng used the Cloud Dragon escape technique and disappeared out of sight. Wang Lin was stunned and was slightly regretful in his heart. Was I too paranoid? After going down Mount Heng, Lin Feng's expression was overcast. While walking he calculated in his heart what he has to do to be able to take the bull by the horn and poach his disciple from the Mount Heng school. The spiritual energy of this Mount Heng school really is better than our own sect and is more suitable for cultivation. A voice suddenly traveled into Lin Feng's ears. Lin Feng's footsteps paused slightly and he hid his body. After a moment he saw two youths walking up Mount Heng. Not too long from now this place will be our Eternal Tao sect's territory. The other youth snorted, saying, Our progenitor Master Pubei safely returned, but the progenitor of the Mount Heng school died in the void battleground. Everything is fate. Only the strong can live in a good cultivation abode. They're about to move out very soon. Watching the figures of the two youths disappear into the mountain, Lin Feng furrowed his forehead and silently pondered. Maybe with this sudden surprise he now has an opportunity. In a bit a warm smile like the sun surfaced on Lin Feng's face. What is mine will not get away. Chapter 57. Chi Disciple Great Circle of Perfection. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. Hearing the contents of their conversation, these two teenage cultivators should both be disciples of the Eternal Tao sect whom Master Pubei belongs to. Not long after they climbed the mountain they said their farewells and left. Afterward some meddlesome disciples on Mount Heng spread word that the Eternal Tao sect will be visiting in a few days. Disciples from the two sects will spar and test their skills. The Eternal Tao sect and the Mount Heng school are relatively close to each other geographically. For the past 1,000 years the two sects have given each other mutual aid, guarding together against outside forces and demon invasion. But at the same time they have also been secretly competing with each other. Disciples often battle with disciples of the other sect and both sides have their wins and losses. But with this time's competition Lin Feng clearly sensed a different atmosphere. The Mount Heng school's nascent soul stage progenitor died in the void battleground, but the Eternal Tao sect's Master Pubei returned safely. And it just so happens that the Mount Heng school's base is better than theirs. Right now the Mount Heng school that has lost a nascent soul stage progenitor holding down the fort is like a 3-year-old child holding a gold bar. Due to the southern border of the Qin dynasty being bordered on demon territory, humans and demons are in constant war, causing countless mountains and cultivation abodes abundant in spiritual energy to lay in waste. Thus a blessed spot beneficial towards cultivation is enough to make everybody fight over it. The Mount Heng school is occupying a treasure ground like Mount Heng but unfortunately does not have a nascent soul stage cultivator holding down the fort. This will probably draw the greed of all the cultivation sects at the southern border. And the Eternal Tao sect, which is the closest one and at the same time also the one who got news first, will undoubtedly seize the initiative. In front of a superior cultivation abode that can be used as the 1,000-year foundation of the sect, that bit of friendship in the past is completely useless. Maybe Master Pubei doesn't want to completely turn hostile against them, which is why in the sparring between the disciples this time the Eternal Tao sect will very likely have some sort of special movements. For example, adding a prize and betting each other's bases. In a short period of time countless thoughts flashed by in Lin Feng's mind. He had a faint feeling in his heart that his 9 transformations blazing spirit pill might have also played a key role in the development of this matter. Without the 9 transformations blazing spirit pill and Master Pubei returning injured from the void battleground, the first thing to do would definitely be to enter closed-door training to heal. Only after healing his injury would he then scheme for the Mount Heng school's base, and who knows when that would be. It could be a few days or a couple of months, maybe even dozens of years. Lin Feng sighed. Every bite and every sip is preordained, it really is a mysterious fate. Originally I only wanted curry favor with that nascent soul stage progenitor, but who would have thought that I ended up helping myself. Whether or not it can provide help isn't certain yet. The Mount Heng school disciples who spread the news only know that the Eternal Tao sect will be visiting in a few days, but they don't know the specific time. And Lin Feng only has 1 month of time left. If the Eternal Tao sect comes after 2 or 3 months, then it will be too late. I still have to make some preparations. Lin Feng controlled the black cloud flag and flew in the air. If there really is no other choice, then I'll have to go and capture him. In any case, that Mount Heng school doesn't know Wang Lin's potential and doesn't value him. If I capture him, they won't necessarily take things seriously. Returning to his 3 disciples, Lin Feng still appeared calm and relaxed, but he was busily making preparations in secret. In the middle of the night, Lin Feng was sitting cross-legged, slowly doing his breathing technique. The surrounding spiritual energy rapidly gathered with his body as the center and was absorbed into his body, charging at a hidden meridian point. When a meridian point is unlocked, spiritual energy that is absorbed will be rapidly converted to mana and stored within the meridian point. Like this, the cultivator's mana will obtain a considerable advance. This is a meticulous job that requires the cultivator to persevere doing dull breathing techniques and refining spiritual energy to break through one's bottleneck. The energy in the Heaven Thunder Moon Jade has already been depleted. Lin Feng can only cultivate according to the regular path. The cultivation speed these couple of months has slowed down and is not as fast as before. After successfully advancing to Chi Disciple level 11, it came to a standstill. But even though the speed is slow, Lin Feng is not worried. He knows that before his steps were too large and his foundation was a bit too unstable. His speed may have slowed down for these few months, but his steps are firm and he can clearly feel that he is more adept in the usage of mana. Through a long period of honing, Lin Feng has already reached the peak of Chi Disciple level 11. Right now he is tackling the very last meridian point. Under his unremitting efforts, the final meridian point was finally unlocked. The spiritual energy that was originally unmoving and built up here instantly poured downward like a flooded dam, entering into the withered meridian point and forming a massive spiral. The rotation of the spiritual energy became faster and faster. The spiritual energy at the center was being constantly converted to mana and nourishing Lin Feng's body. Different from before, where things were over after filling it with mana, Lin Feng continued to consecutively swallow multiple energy recovery pills that recover mana. He constantly pushed the mana in his body, forming a massive cycle in his entire body. The 12 meridian points were all unlocked and connected as one. The mana stored in the meridian points was no longer isolated like bodies of dead water as before. Instead they turned into a surging river, constantly circulating in Lin Feng's body. Lin Feng exhaled a long breath and suddenly released a loud shout that echoed like a tiger's roar and dragon's cry. His voice was covered by the mana ward of the black cloud flag and was unable to travel out of the room, but Lin Feng's heart was very satisfied. At this moment, with the 12 levels all unlocked, Lin Feng has reached the great circle of perfection of Chi Disciple level 12, the peak of the Chi Disciple stage. Lin Feng pushed open the room door, his face revealed a satisfied smile. He said in his heart, "In cultivating Tao techniques, the higher one's level, the slower the progress. Even though I had the help of the system and started directly from Chi Disciple level 4, but reaching the great circle of perfection of Chi Disciple level 12 in less than 1 year is still pretty fast, right? Could it that I'm actually a prodigy too?" He was in the middle of thinking when his 3 disciples greeted him. Lin Feng smiled and said in a happy mood, "How is the cultivation going? Is there anything you guys don't understand?" "Xiao Yan. I just wanted to tell Master. Last night I saw the moon rise and the sun set, the stars glittered in the sky. As I watched, I had a faint insight into a type of incredibly profound principle of the martial way. After pondering for the night, I came up with a martial skill and I just wanted Master to review it. In addition, the bottleneck in the level of my Tao technique seems to also have loosened due to this, and I think that I can break through it very soon." The corner of Lin Feng's lips twitched. Dude, you're already Chi Disciple level 9. If you advance again then that is Chi Disciple level 10. If I remember correctly you used 4 years of time in the past before reaching the great circle of perfection of Chi Disciple. Zhu Yi. If I may speak master, last night I was strolling in the mountain and chanced upon a strange flower. Spiritual energy overflowed from it and it was covered in golden light. It does not seem like an ordinary item. I did not dare to take liberty and specially brought it back for master to take care of it. Lin Feng expressionlessly took over the spiritual flower. Through searching the system he learned that this flower is called a 3-leaf orchid. It is precisely the main material for that pill which aids people in breaking through their bottlenecks, the barrier-breaking pill. Xiao Budian. Master, I advanced to Chi Disciple level 10. I somehow just randomly did so. I don't really know what happened. Lin Feng was speechless, his eyes looked towards the heavens at a 45-degree angle. He felt like something slid by in the corners of his eyes. Coach, I also want a marriage annulment. Coach, I also want an abusive father. Coach, is it too late for me to start drinking animal milk right now? Sending off his 3 disciples in depression, Lin Feng returned to the room. After sitting blankly for a moment he took out a ring from his clothes. It was precisely that ring sealing the remnant soul of the Tao Tai. Before Lin Feng was afraid of the Tao Tai so he was constantly reinforcing the heaven cage sigil to seal her. In the end he was practically about to forget that there was still this matter. He just used the ring to practice the heaven cage sigil when he had nothing to do. After finishing practicing he threw it to the back of his mind. But now he's changed his mind. If he really does go to the Mount Heng school to capture Wang Lin, if the Aurus Core stage cultivators want to take things seriously then Lin Feng needs even more cards in his hands. Right now he wants to unite and mobilize all power of use. Chapter 58. Little girl, Uncle will take you to see goldfishes. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Besides the Mount Heng school, Lin Feng is well aware that even though he doesn't know whether it is a godly item or old grandpa, it is certain that Wang Lin still has a big golden leg to hug. This is also Lin Feng's job competitor. Lin Feng's mind entered into the ring. Inside of a cage weaved together by pillars of light in the dark space sat a little girl. She had 2 pigtails and looked like a cute little doll. The little loli was sitting in complete boredom and constantly grumbling. So hungry, so hungry. The corner of Lin Feng's lips twitched. This glutton. Seeing Lin Feng, the little loli wrinkled her cute little nose, she turned her head with a humph and didn't look at him. The little girl's behavior was a bit childish but Lin Feng did not dare to take her lightly. In a sense, the level of danger of this savage beast cub who looks like a loli is in no way inferior to an Aurus Core stage cultivator. Because currently Lin Feng can only use the heaven cage sigil to trap her but is unable to completely kill her. Pushing the power of the 24 Arhat heaven formation may do the trick, but it's not 100% guarantee. With caution in his heart Lin Feng still had a smiling face on the surface. Little girl, are you used to living here? Hearing Lin Feng ask this the Tao Tai cub instantly scowled and wanted to explode at him. Only after taking a close look at the light cage around her did she grudgingly hold back her anger and release a heavy snort. Stay in here for half a year and you'll naturally know what it feels like. Pausing for a moment the little girl still couldn't resist asking. I say, it's one thing to imprison me here, at least give me some food, I really am so hungry. Lin Feng thought in his heart, if I let you devour mana and spiritual energy, after you recover your strength I won't be able to imprison you anymore. Even though she's been imprisoned by the heaven cage sigil the entire time, Lin Feng did not torture or weaken her. She may not have eaten this whole time, but the mana that she originally had has not disappeared. It is impossible for her to starve to death. The hunger that she feels may be real, but that is entirely due to the Tao Tai's glutinous nature. Lin Feng said with a smile. The amount of time that we've known each other now is not short and I still don't know your name. The little loli rolled her eyes. Why should I tell you? Lin Feng didn't get mad. He said with a smile. There's something good in it for you if you tell me, such as, food. The Tao Tai cub's eyes instantly lit up and her face lit up with pleasure. Really? Really, but the precondition is that you have to speak the truth. Lin Feng extended a finger and flicked a pole of the cage, his voice turned cold. If you dare to fool me, you know the consequence. The little loli retracted her neck. Since I was little my parents both called me Tun Tun. TL. Tun Tun, her name basically means swallow/devour. Tun. Tun. Lin Feng didn't know whether to laugh or cry. This name really is high class, it really couldn't be more fitting. Tun Tun swallowed her saliva. Is there food? Lin Feng calculated things out. The heaven cage sigil that he set up when he was at Chi Disciple level 7 could already trap Tun Tun at her current strength, giving her a little taste of sweetness can't hurt. But he has to control the amount to ensure that his Chi Disciple level 12 strength can still seal her. After finishing his calculations, Lin Feng threw some pills towards Tun Tun. Tun Tun did not hesitate and was truly like her name. Opening up her little mouth, she swallowed them all in one go. After she finished eating, she smacked her lips. It's too little, it's not even enough to fill the gaps of my teeth. Lin Feng smiled slightly. This is just the beginning, as long as you're good there's a lot more where that came from. Tun Tun's eyes flashed and she was instead not so keen anymore. You human, what do you want to do? Lin Feng smiled saying. The sword aura of that old geezer from the Blaze Sword sect last time, did it taste good? Tun Tun became furious. You want to trick me again into being your shield? You can only blame yourself for having too small of an appetite, you're blaming me for getting stuffed. Lin Feng was completely calm. But don't worry, after that time I have an approximate idea of the limit of your appetite. I will take note to control the amount next time I find food for you. Lin Feng smiled like the wolf grandma tricking Little Red Riding Hood. You better think carefully, besides this method there isn't another way to fill that little stomach of yours. Tun Tun's face was uncertain. Lin Feng's words were like the tempting words of the devil from hell. Think about it, being hungry is such a painful thing. Your heart feels so flustered, like somebody is scratching at it with a tiny claw. Tun Tun shuddered. She felt helpless in her heart. Right now she is at his complete mercy and is completely in Lin Feng's control. Fine. Tun Tun agreed helplessly. Man dies for wealth and Tao Tais die for food. TL. Replace Tao Tai with bird and you get the original saying. A lot funnier if you know the original saying. Hearing this, Lin Feng laughed weirdly, just like a creepy uncle who successfully tricked a little loli to go see goldfish. TL. Go to the bottom of the page for a new Chinese meme lesson. Working things out with Tun Tun, Lin Feng's mood became a lot better. I'm already at Chi Disciple level 12, next up is Foundation Establishment. Foundation Establishment is establishing one's Tao root. Different from the Chi Disciple stage being split into 12 levels, the Foundation Establishment stage is only split into 3 levels, generally referred to as Foundation Establishment Early Stage, Foundation Establishment Mid Stage and Foundation Establishment Late Stage. Sometimes they are also called the 3 realms, Chi Ocean, Spirit Tower and Core Furnace based on their traits. Foundation Establishment Early Stage, the cultivator establishes a Chi Ocean. Their mana is as vast and boundless as the sea and is far superior to Chi Disciple stage cultivators in terms of the total amount. The cultivators of the House of the Marquis of Xuanji that Lin Feng met before in the Black Cloud Underground Palace were all Foundation Establishment Early Stage. The 5 people of the 5 Elements sect with the yellow-clothed old man as the leader and that purple fine-clothed middle-aged man were all Chi Ocean Realm cultivators. Foundation Establishment Mid-Stage, the cultivator forges a spirit tower using the boundless mana in the Chi Ocean. This spirit tower is the true foundation of a cultivator's Tao technique. 1,000-story building rises from the ground. Forming the Aurous core in the future and hatching the nascent soul all starts from here. Elder Yi Gu of the Celeritas sword sect who brought Murong Yenran to the Shao clan to break off the engagement, Mr. Vulture, the white-clothed scholar and the black-clothed swordsman who attacked Big Monk Hui Ku are all Foundation Establishment mid-stage, Spirit Tower realm cultivators. As for Foundation Establishment late stage, that is refining a core furnace above the Spirit Tower. Compared to Spirit Tower realm cultivators, Core Furnace realm cultivators simply have slightly more refined mana. The difference in fighting strength is not big. But refining the Core Furnace is the most important process of the Foundation Establishment stage, because the Core Furnace will directly determine the success of a cultivator forming their Aurous core. Whether or not one can tackle higher stages after Aurous core depends all on the quality of the Core Furnace. Big Monk Hui Ku whom Lin Feng killed and robbed the Sariras from was actually already Foundation Establishment late stage, a Core Furnace realm cultivator. Due to the art of Akala Dao technique he practiced being flawed he was unable to form his Aurous core and break through to the next stage. This is also the reason why he was so obsessed with Shao Yan. The Foundation Establishment stage may only be split into 3 realms, but there is still a difference of strength between cultivators of the same level. This is because Spirit Towers are split into 9 grades, Grade 1 is the best and Grade 9 is the worst. By extension one can obtain a Core Furnace from Grade 1 to Grade 9. There is a great difference between each grade and an even greater difference is displayed in the future after forming the Aurous core. There will also be a difference in the quality of the Aurous core. The Core Furnace directly determines a cultivator's cultivation potential in the future. Refining a Grade 9 Core Furnace above a Grade 9 Spirit Tower, being able to form an Aurous core is already a massive fortune. As for the quality of the Aurous and advancing stages in the future, don't even think about it. As for refining a Grade 1 Core Furnace above a Grade 1 Spirit Tower, after the cultivator advances to the Aurous core stage they will definitely have a promising future. Why did Shao Budian suffer disaster in the past? It was because he was born with a Qi Ocean and above the Qi Ocean stood a sovereign spirit tower that is above a Grade 1 spirit tower. Erecting a sovereign core furnace above a sovereign spirit tower, the Aurous core formed will inevitably be the very best. Don't mention Aurous core stage, nascent soul and even primordial spirit are all within sight. Lin Feng thought. Shao Budian's bone root is still a max value of 10. When he opens his Qi Ocean in the future and erects his spirit tower can he still obtain a sovereign spirit tower? While thinking Lin Feng pushed open the room doors and walked out of the room. He saw that his 3 disciples were all in the courtyard and their gazes were looking towards the distant horizon together. Seeing Lin Feng come out the 3 people hurriedly greeted him. After greeting him Lin Feng asked them what they are looking at. Shao Yan responded saying, Master, just now a giant centipede that was a whole 100 meters long flew by in the sky. Many human figures could be faintly seen on top of the centipede and it headed in that direction. Following the direction of his finger and looking over, Lin Feng's eyes flashed. That direction is the location of the Mount Heng School. Could it be that the people of the Eternal Tao sect have arrived? Welcome back to Chinese Meme Time. Today we will be talking about the origin behind Uncle will take you to see goldfishes. This phrase originates from a crime in Hong Kong. For the purpose of abduction, a middle-aged man raised some goldfish on a rooftop and would say to little girls. Little girl, how's about Uncle take you to go see goldfishes? After taking them to the rooftop he would then find the opportunity to rape them. Afterwards people used Goldfish Man to represent men with pedophilia and even expressing men who engage in chat with young girls while carrying evident deceitful purpose, especially old men. Chapter 59. The exchange competition that was brought forward. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After settling down his 3 disciples, Lin Feng shook the black cloud flag and flew in the direction of Mount Heng by himself. From far away he could see a 1,000-legged centipede in the sky that was a whole 100 meters long. This centipede was completely black, thunder rumbled as it flew while stepping on black clouds. It circled above Mount Heng and seemed to be showing off. Afterwards a violet sword aura rose into the sky from the highest summit of Mount Heng. It turned into a dragon-shaped light figure in the air and roared at the centipede. Only then did the centipede retract its arrogance, carrying the cultivators of the Eternal Tao sect on its back and landing on Mount Heng. The majority of people of the Mount Heng school all had their attention attracted by the centipede. Lin Feng very easily found his way up the mountain again. The leader of the Eternal Tao sect is a white-bearded old man. His cultivation level is Foundation Establishment mid-stage and he looks very friendly. He released bursts of laughter. Fellow Taoist, this time a lot of disciples with good potential have appeared in your Mount Heng school. The Mount Heng school's nascent soul stage progenitor headed towards the void battleground and no news has been heard from him for hundreds of years. The Oris Core stage cultivators in the school are all in closed-door training. Currently the head of the Mount Heng school is a middle-aged Foundation Establishment mid-stage cultivator. Towards the white-bearded old man's compliment, the head of the Mount Heng school was very modest. The atmosphere between both sides was very harmonious. Lin Feng on the other hand sneered in secret. He knows that this harmonious and friendly atmosphere won't last for long. The Eternal Tao sect is a visitor from afar and were first arranged to rest in the guest rooms. 3 days later the exchange competition between the disciples of both sects will officially start. The disciples participating in the competition are basically all at the Qi disciple stage. Since arriving in this world, the Tao techniques and skills Lin Feng has encountered are all of relatively high level, thus Lin Feng could not muster up any interest in the spells and martial skills used in the competition between the disciples of the two sections. Half of his energy was used to hide his whereabouts, the other half was placed on Wang Lin. Currently Wang Lin has only entered the school for a few days, and he is also just a registered disciple. There is nobody teaching him Tao techniques and all he does on the mountain is manual labor. But Lin Feng actually sensed a faint spiritual energy fluctuation from Wang Lin's body. Even though it is very weak and he is still a far way from Qi disciple level 1, but Wang Lin does indeed have signs of starting to channel energy into his body. Lin Feng was greatly surprised. Wang Lin does indeed possess astounding potential, but his bone root is after all a bit poor, even below the regular standard. He belongs to the type who rises up later on. He shouldn't be making progress so quickly at the start of his cultivation. Right now Wang Lin was following well-behaved behind a middle-aged cultivator and seriously watching the competition that had already started on the stage. Inside of the crowd he was completely unassuming. Lin Feng shifted his gaze over from Wang Lin to the middle-aged cultivator. He actually has a master. Then it's this person who taught him Tao techniques, but he still shouldn't be so quick. This middle-aged cultivator himself is just at Qi disciple level 8. Still being at this level in his middle ages means that this person pretty much has no potential left to tap into. In his life being able to successfully reach Foundation Establishment is pretty much the end. Looks like Wang Lin really did obtain a certain miraculous encounter. If it's not some sort of godly artifact or super Tao technique then it's an old grandpa. Lin Feng's face became dark. This time not only did he get beaten by the Mount Heng school, even the position of old grandpa was robbed from him. Lin Feng calculated in his heart, if he didn't guess wrong, the Eternal Tao sect with Master Pubei backing them up will most likely take the Mount Heng school's base. Due to this the Mount Heng school's reputation will drop drastically and the sect cohesiveness will definitely drop too. Wang Lin who was originally not valued and now also has his own miraculous encounter might leave the Mount Heng school due to this. Adding that right now he looks so unassuming, Master Pubei and the Eternal Tao sect most likely won't care about him either. Lin Feng's greatest competitor is that old grandpa who came out of nowhere. Wonder how much strength that old bastard still has. Lin Feng exhaled a long breath, he's already made up his mind. Fight the old grandpa and steal Wang Lin. This disciple is his. Currently the competition between the disciples of both sects has already become very intense. One Mount Heng sect disciple had the upper hand, forcing the disciple of the Eternal Tao sect to use a magic item like a yellow paper to withstand him. Two beams of white light flew out from the Mount Heng school disciple's sleeves. They rapidly flew in a circle in the air and then struck towards the opponent at a lightning-fast speed. The Eternal Tao sect disciple let out a rueful laugh. All of his energy was focused on withstanding the opponent's previous attack. He doesn't have any energy left to block this second attack. Right at this moment, somebody in the crowd of Eternal Tao sect disciples below the stage suddenly released a cold snort. Afterwards a black beam of light charged out, intercepting the two beams of white light in the air and grinding them to pieces. The people of the Mount Heng school all yelled in anger. That Eternal Tao sect disciple laughed coldly and jumped onto the stage. Looking at the Mount Heng school disciples below the stage, he said in arrogance, "All of the Chi disciple stage disciples of the Mount Heng school come at me all at once, I alone am enough." The expressions of the elders of the Mount Heng school also darkened. Together they looked towards the leader of the Eternal Tao sect, the white-bearded old man. The old man stroked his beard and released a dry cough, saying, "Let's decide the winner with one person this time. If there is a person among your Mount Heng school disciples who can last for 10 seconds and not lose, then we'll call it the win of the Mount Heng school." He paused for a moment before saying with a grin, "There is something that I want to take advantage of this opportunity to say. If we the Eternal Tao sect win today's competition, then besides those prizes from before you also have to add another one. You have to lend this Mount Heng to us the Eternal Tao sect for 500 years. Hearing his words, Lin Feng silently laughed. "It's here, it's coming." The faces of all of the cultivators of the Mount Heng school turned slightly green. The head of the Mount Heng school narrowed his eyes. "Fellow Taoist, are you joking?" The white-bearded old man smiled but didn't respond. He turned towards that arrogant disciple on the stage. "Release the talisman." Hearing this, the person opened up his shirt, revealing a talisman. Taking off the talisman, his mana instantly surged, revealing a strength of the great circle of perfection of the Chi disciple stage. But even more eye-catching was still that talisman. Upon seeing it, all of the foundation establishment stage cultivators of the Mount Heng school revealed expressions of shock. The white-bearded old man said coolly, "Fellow Taoist, you can see that the mana on this talisman is unable to be created by anyone other than a nascent soul stage progenitor. Truthfully speaking, our Eternal Tao sect progenitor Master Pubei has returned from the void battleground. He brought back news, the two progenitors of your Mount Heng school have both died. For old time's sake, we the Eternal Tao sect did not take away your base by force or trickery and instead gave the Mount Heng school a last bit of consideration. In this competition, if the Mount Heng school wins, then this matter ends here. I've already brought the message, fellow Taoist Huang Long, let the competition continue." Reality shows that at the moment, the Mount Heng school's strongest Chi disciple stage disciple is only Chi disciple level 10. Even a bunch of people together aren't a match for that Chi disciple great circle of perfection Eternal Tao sect disciple. Lin Feng laughed very unscrupulously. It vaguely occurred to him that if not for his 9 transformations blazing spirit pill helping Master Pubei heal his injury in advance, this exchange competition might not have been conducted so early. If this exchange competition wasn't brought ahead of schedule, this exchange competition could very well have become little buddy Wang Lin's first novice village battle on his path towards greatness. At the moment where his sect brothers are completely overshadowed and the enemy is extremely arrogant and domineering, he goes up and slaps the enemy down, thereby stunning the audience and from then on stepping upon the right path that belongs to him. What a perfect script. But right now the competition has been conducted in advance and Wang Lin is only at the energy channeling stage, he hasn't even reached Chi disciple level 1 yet. How can he display his awesomeness and turn the tides? Sure enough, In this exchange competition the Mount Heng school lost without any surprise. The disciples of the Mount Heng school watched bitterly and in anger at the Eternal Tao sect leave. The news of their nascent soul stage progenitors' deaths weighed especially heavily on their hearts like a massive boulder. Wang Lin was mixed in the crowd, his expression was enraged and frustrated, but he couldn't do anything. His gaze was very complicated. He subconsciously reached into his clothes, in his heart his desire for strength became increasingly stronger. With hopes of what if, the Mount Heng school did not move out right away. But what awaited them was instead despair. 5 days later, rolling black clouds covered the peak of Mount Heng. A voice like rolling thunder sounded in the sky. "I am Master Pubei, all of the juniors of the Mount Heng school come out." Chapter 60. Not just one person has their mind on him. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Black clouds gathered above Mount Heng, a small pitch-black mountain suddenly appeared in the air. It grew with the wind and instantly turned into a towering peak. Following Master Pubei's spell sign, that massive mountain immediately smashed downwards. A screen of light like an upside-down bowl appeared over Mount Heng, protecting the Mount Heng school and withstanding the barrage of the giant mountain. But following Master Pubei constantly applying force, the Mount Heng school's protective formation without a same-leveled nascent soul stage progenitor holding down the fort had already becoming increasingly weaker. It was crumbling and about to be breached. Lin Feng had already went down the mountain, watching this amazing scene from far away. His face was also a bit pale. Nascent soul stage cultivators are truly powerful. The difference in level is too big, any amount of plotting is futile. He looked at the protective formation of the Mount Heng school and also felt a bit lucky in his heart. This formation is truly extraordinary, resisting again a nascent soul stage cultivator for so long. If I went to capture Wang Lin, I definitely wouldn't be able to force my way in. Instead of saying, capture, steal would be a bit more appropriate. At the same time, it also occurred to Lin Feng that after he creates his sect, his primary objective is to first get his hands on a protective formation that can protect his base. This is the basic foundation. That Mount Heng school's protective formation may be tough, but without a nascent soul stage cultivator sitting center it was ultimately unable to withstand Master Pubei's assault. Under a series of barrages, spiderweb-like cracks appeared on the light screen, spreading in all directions. "Break!" Master Pubei shouted. The giant mountain pressed downward, directly dropping 3 inches. All of Mount Heng trembled and in the sound of rumbling, rocks tumbled and dust flew. The massive mountain was actually forced down dozens of meters into the earth. At this moment the Mount Heng school's protective formation was finally unable to hang on. It released the sound of a mirror breaking and the entire light screen instantly fell to pieces, vanishing out of sight. Lin Feng sighed, he knows that the Mount Heng school is completely hopeless now. Master Pubei's domineering voice traveled over from the sky. "Your Mount Heng school's 2 nascent soul stage progenitors have both died in the void battleground. You guys are unable to guard this Mount Heng. Instead of letting it be stolen by someone else, it would be better to give it to the Eternal Tao sect. Besides people, you guys can't take anything else with you. Another word and I don't mind wiping out the Mount Heng school. In addition, right now the Eternal Tao sect is recruiting disciples. If there are people amongst you guys who want to join, you can stay on the spot." Lin Feng shook his head. This Master Pubei really is ruthless, he wants to dig up the foundation of the Mount Heng school. The 2 Oris core stage elders of the Mount Heng school were both blue in the face, but they could only keep everything in their stomachs and leave Mount Heng bringing along the few disciples willing to follow the school. Lin Feng didn't care about anybody else, all of his attention was on Wang Lin. Looking from far away, he saw that Wang Lin did not stay behind and instead left the mountain together with the Mount Heng school. Lin Feng resolutely followed over. The 2 Oris core stage cultivators used their escape technique, their bodies turning into arcs of light and carrying the group of disciples willing to leave. They flew in the air for a long time before landing on a barren mountain. Such a massive mounting school, yet only a mere 20 or so people were willing to follow the school. With just a couple of small fry they looked very miserable. The two Oris core cultivators looked at each other. Their mouths were bitter, but they still had to force themselves, raise their spirits and encourage everybody. They didn't dare to allow the last bit of people to scatter. Lin Feng silently crept up the mountain. He saw the two Oris core stage cultivators in the middle of meditating. They were clearly making up for the mana expended while maintaining the formation before. 3 foundation establishment stage cultivators were guarding beside them. The rest of the Qi disciple stage disciples were scattered in groups around the mountain. Some people were working hard training while others were cursing and complaining. Wang Lin was sent to go get water for everybody. He went alone, walking towards the small stream in the distance. Lin Feng chuckled and was about to follow behind him, but when his feet had just moved, Lin Feng's movement suddenly stopped. Because he discovered that someone else was also silently following behind Wang Lin, and was paying attention not to make any noises, afraid of alerting the others. This person was precisely that middle-aged cultivator who was suspected to be Wang Lin's master. In his eyes staring at Wang Lin, a cold light faintly flickered. Lin Feng's eyebrows slightly raised. It looks like he isn't the only one who has his mind on Wang Lin. I should just kill you while I'm at it and just perfectly get rid of your master-disciple relationship. Lin Feng laughed coldly and followed over. Wang Lin arrived beside the stream. He turned his head, looking around for a moment, and didn't discover anyone. But he didn't know that the middle-aged cultivator was not far away behind him, and Lin Feng followed closely behind him. The two stalkers paid attention to restrain and hide their bodies and aura. Wang Lin, who isn't even Qi disciple level 1, naturally couldn't discover them. After not discovering anyone behind him, Wang Lin crouched beside that stream and stared in a trance at the flowing stream. The great change occurred too suddenly, making him a bit flustered. Essentially, he is still just a simple youngster. Today is his first time experiencing the law of the jungle in the cultivation world. This feeling made him feel constrained and desire powerful strength even more urgently to let him be able to do something and not be like when the great change occurred, a powerless weed that no one cares about. Wang Lin took out a gray stone bead the size of a baby's fist from his shirt and said in his heart, "This thing might be the key to changing my fate." That day he was rejected by the Mount Heng school and he jumped off the cliff to kill himself due to unstable emotions, but he inadvertently obtained this stone bead. Subtle spiritual energy traveled into Wang Lin's body from the stone bead, healing the heavy injury created from him falling from the cliff. Wang Lin instantly realized that this stone bead wasn't a normal item. This is why that day Wang Lin was suspicious in his heart when Lin Feng visited him. He thought that Lin Feng had discovered the secret of the stone bead and came for the stone bead. After Wang Lin entered into the Mount Heng school, he was taught some most basic Tao techniques. But when he was unable to grasp the essentials, it was the stone bead that once again channeled spiritual energy into his body. Afterwards Wang Lin discovered that he could actually successfully channel energy into his body. This strengthened Wang Lin's judgment even more. This stone bead is definitely a treasure. The Eternal Tao sect has a lot of people and their situation is complex. It was precisely to guard the secret of the stone bead that Wang Lin chose to stay in the Mount Heng school. Seeing that stone bead, Lin Feng's eyes turned cold. He grinded his teeth. "You're the bastard." While the eyes of the middle-aged cultivator on the other side lit up, his face lighting up with pleasure. "I knew you had a secret on you, you little brat. Huh, God bless me, bestowing this treasure upon me." Sun Xiaozhu revealed himself. Wang Lin was horrified, turning his head and seeing Sun Xiaozhu, his expression instantly turned pale. "Good disciple, let me see that stone bead." Sun Xiaozhu walked over towards Wang Lin while chuckling. Wang Lin's fist holding the stone bead slowly tightened. He said in a low voice, "Master, this is just a regular marble, I'm just playing with it for fun." Sun Xiaozhu sneered and suddenly slapped Wang Lin to the ground. You still dare to fool me. With your garbage aptitude, there must be a special reason to you being able to channel energy into your body after entering the school for only a few days. If it wasn't to determine the secret on your body, you think I would take a piece of trash like you as my disciple? Wang Lin lay on the ground, his body curling into a ball and tightly hiding the stone bead in his embrace. He tightly pressed his lips, not saying anything. His face was filled with an unyielding spirit. Sun Xiaozhu laughed coldly saying, "After obtaining a rare treasure you don't think of offering it to your master and actually dare to keep it for yourself. Be a good boy and give the item to me or else you'll be in a lot of pain." Nice job. At the side Lin Feng was cracking his knuckles, hurriedly adjusting his clothes and preparing to make his appearance. Your actions will perfectly complement my majesty, thanks bro. Lin Feng was just about to walk out when Wang Lin who was on the ground suddenly released a low cry. He then saw black smoke rise up from the stone bead in his embrace. It formed a human figure in the air who laughed in a strange manner. Lin Feng practically tripped over his own feet. He hurriedly stood still, grinding his teeth and staring at the human figure in mid-air. Holy fuck, you really do have an old grandpa.